Good morning and welcome to Mind Tripping with Michelle. Today we are broadcasting on a Tuesday rather than a Wednesday. Hope I didn't mess you up too much, but I'm very excited to announce that I actually have a show producer, somebody to help me out with the show. So hoping things that will go much, much smoother. My producer is not available on Wednesdays, so we're going to move the show over to Tuesday mornings from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I hope that you can mark that on your calendars and that you can be available to either watch live or listen live. Also, we record all broadcasts, so you can watch any of them by visiting michellemelioonline.com and check them out over there, and you can see all of our past broadcasts. I'm really excited to talk with you about today. I was hoping that I could find an ugly sweater because it feels like this is going to be ugly sweater week because we're going to talk about some ugly things. We're going to talk about addiction. We're going to talk about what addiction is. We're going to talk about some alternative methods that can help you or someone you love get through and past the disease of addiction. We're also going to talk about how you can use meditation, hypnosis, and spiritual techniques to help you get there as well and help keep you on track. My special guest today is David Clarke. He is an author, and he is also someone who has been on the other side of addiction. He is somebody who has been through it and has come across to the other side of free of addictions, and he helps others to find their own spirituality and find their help themselves through it. We're going to talk with him about that, as well as his new book Ockham's Razor, which is a wonderful book, and that will be at 10:30. So in just a moment, I am going to announce the call-in number that you can use at 10:30 if you have any questions for David or for myself to help you through or someone you love through addiction. So before we jump into everything that you can do for addiction, I would like to define for you what my idea of addiction is and how I term the phrase and what it means to me. Now, I have been through the complete opposite side as David with addiction, being married to somebody who struggled through and suffered with the disease of addiction. So being on the other side of that, I spent a lot of my time, and you can find that by reading a little bit about me on my website. It will walk you through how I became a person who helps people on a spiritual level through my psychic abilities and with hypnosis and meditation to get through addiction, but also to be on the other side, be that person that's helping out. I spent many years, that is, trying to help my husband get through his disease. And in the end, I really found that I was helping myself find my spiritual center and find my way through it. So it's going to be really nice to talk with David today and get on the other side of that and to get a point of view from somebody who's actually been through it. So it's a pretty wonderful thing. And so I just want to share that with you. What is addiction? What does addiction mean to me? You know, addiction does not have to be drugs. It does not have to be alcohol. It does not have to be smoking, those common things that we think they are, although it can be. Addiction can also spill over into gambling addiction. Addiction can fall into sex addictions. And sometimes an addiction can just be obsessing over something compulsively that we can't stop to do, and it affects our quality of life. And that's where I term something to be an addiction, is when it affects our quality of life. So as long as it's not affecting your quality of life, I'm not saying to go out and drink alcohol and do drugs and go crazy, but that's how we term what an addiction is, okay, and how we can help overcome that addiction.
The video's not working. He's trying to watch it.
So I think we're having some technical difficulties. I'm hoping that you can at least hear me talking. And what we'll do is we will air this broadcast as a podcast. So, which is fine. You can still listen in on what's going on and listen later. So we have this addiction. What can we do to help us get through an addiction? Many times, it really does affect our quality of life. We're not able
They can't do
to.
anything. They're not. This is what it says. Because the live video broadcast will begin soon.
You didn't click start broadcast.
Yeah, I did. And it says stop broadcast right now. It says we're live.
Okay, so I think that we're having some technical difficulties, but I think that the person that's viewing our show is actually on the wrong show. Okay, so I'm just going to keep rolling here and hope that everything works out. And if not, we'll just re-record it another time. We always will have that Blog Talk Radio podcast, so we'll just kind of go with that. So anyway, so we have this addiction, this disease of addiction, and we want to try to help get ourselves through that disease of addiction, or somebody that we love that's ready to make those changes. What can we do to help on a holistic level? Well, we have all these 12-step programs. We have these wonderful 12-step programs that you can follow along that will help you. I think that we always have strength in numbers, okay? And I spent a lot of time going to Narcotics Anonymous for my spouse at the time. And in fact, I went so much that I was working the 12 steps, and I found them very helpful to help me being on the other side of that disease of addiction, help me to help myself understand what was going on with him in his life. So if you have somebody you love that's going through it, I highly, highly suggest a 12-step program. The 12-step programs will take you through different stages of your recovery. And that's what we're talking about, recovery. And so you can use alternative along with the 12-step program, or you can just do it on your own. If you are planning on doing something like this on your own, I do suggest that you get somebody that is in recovery, or that is not in a state of active addiction, because we have strength in numbers. If we work together, we can overcome anything. We can do anything. We can shift our thoughts, and we can shift our beliefs, and we can shift the way we perceive the world around us. Many times with addiction, it is simply balance and off balance in the brain, and the ability to be able to cope with the stress that's related to that off balance, and also the cravings that are related with that off balance. Some herbs that can help with that. And again, if you're seeing a medical doctor, I really recommend. I'm not a medical doctor. I do not claim to be a medical doctor. And I highly recommend that you ask your medical doctor before using the herbal remedies. But some great herbal remedies that you can use once you've spoken to your doctor are, first of all, white willow bark. I really recommend white willow bark to any of my clients that are attempting to become a non-smoker, that are attempting to overcome any type of drugs or alcohol, and also trying to lose weight. And the reason for the white willow bark is the white willow bark will help ease pain. Okay, white willow bark is a major component that's used in things like aspirin, codeine, and it's a very natural herb. So what you can do with the white willow bark is you can use it to kind of help take the edge off. It can also help somebody that's trying to overcome the addiction of pain medicines or something to that nature, that your body has pain. It can also help with, a lot of times we will have physical reactions to working our way through the disease of addiction. And the white willow bark will just kind of help with those physical responses, reactions, sometimes itchiness, sometimes pains in our muscles, things like that. There are many ways to prepare white willow bark. You can go to any natural food store and purchase it in a pill form. And a pill form is a wonderful way. You eat it, it digests in your body, and then the white willow herb will transfer through your body and help your body do what it would do naturally. It just helps do it at an accelerated rate. Also, you can make white willow tea, or not a tincture, a tea, or a more compressed liquid that you can take. That is known as an herbal remedy, and you put the drops in your mouth. And to do that, you'll want to boil down the white willow bark, and you'll boil it down for about 15-20 minutes, and then you'll strain it. and then you'll boil it down again for another 15, let it cool completely, and it's ready to use. It's a wonderful remedy to help you through. And also for those of you, not to get off topic about addiction, but for those of you who are working your way through something like fibromyalgia or having pains in your body, you can also use the white willow bark for that. Another herb that I like to recommend to help take the edge off and to help you work your way to recovery is licorice root. Licorice root is great because licorice root mimics sugar in your body. And a lot of people that are overcoming, that are working their way to overcome cigarette smoking, overcome overeating, or cocaine or any of those type of drugs, the licorice root will help because it helps the dopamines in your brain think that they're receiving sugar. So it really does help take the edge off, and it will help with like instant craving. So have some of that on hand, and you'll just want to get a tea strainer, or you can use some natural materials, and you can put about a tablespoon of the licorice root and steep it in hot water for about 20 minutes and drink the whole thing, and you'll feel a lot better. So those are just a couple of the herbal remedies that you can use to help you with addiction. What else can you do? So we talked a little bit about shifting your mindset. We talked about changing your thought process, changing the way that you perceive the world around you. A wonderful way to do that is breathing techniques and meditation. And of course, my favorite is always hypnosis, because we want to change things on a subconscious level. A lot of addictions, especially gambling addictions or sex addictions, are emotional in nature. So they're triggered by an emotional response to an old memory. Hypnosis can help you not to forget that that occurred in your life, because we always want to preserve the learning of things that occur in our life. But it helps us remove the emotional trigger that's attached to it. I work with a lot of clients about removing the emotional attachment to a memory. And it can be instantaneous, and it can be so powerful for the person that is removing that emotion, almost miraculous. So breathing techniques can kind of help you through when the emotion comes up or the urge comes up. You can practice breathing deeply in through your nose. And you can hold that breath for a moment and push it out through your mouth. And when you breathe out from your mouth, you actually want to push it up from your diaphragm out. So you're actually almost creating a dizzy feeling. You're taking a deep breath in, holding it, and pushing out from your diaphragm when you exhale out your mouth. You become a little bit lightheaded. What happens is that rushes oxygen through your body and helps with stress. It can help, especially with smoking. A lot of people that have smoking addiction have that addiction because they just need to take a few deep breaths. And they don't even realize that when they take a cigarette, they'll take like 2 or 3 puffs and be, oh, I feel so much better now. I'm not stressed out anymore. And that's because they just took 3 or 4 deep breaths. So next time, if you're working through the addiction of smoking cigarettes and you would like to see if this is a way that will help you get yourself to a non-smoker lifestyle, try taking 3 or 4 deep breaths and see if that doesn't scratch the itch for you. Let's talk again about changing emotions. You can always give me a call. You can always visit my website, michellemelioonline.com, and talk with me in person about what it is that you are working your way through. And if you think that it's an emotional response or emotional trigger, we can certainly help you with that through one-on-one. Some other ways that you can change your thought process is with these wonderful hypnosis CDs that I've created. Some of the things that your mind will go through, that your body will respond to, these CDs can help you through. I always recommend use full 28 days when you're working with hypnosis. Sometimes we'll have these levels of high and these levels of low. Overcoming depression, helping yourself to overcome those depressed feelings. Again, we talked a little bit about dopamine. We talked about the serotonin in your brain, things that are released that that are blocked with somebody who is working their way through addiction. And they actually would use the drug to help release these in the body. Overcoming depression is a wonderful CD that can actually help you to adjust those levels in your brain. It subconsciously talks to your mind and finds those areas of the human brain that require healing. There's also a part with people that are working through addiction, there's also a part of ourselves that thinks that we're not worthy, and overcoming depression can help you with your worthiness. Get a little tongue-tied. Those deep breaths really kind of got me in a relaxed state. So we're going to go live in just a minute with my guest today. We have David Clarke. I'm very excited to talk with him. If you would like to call in and ask David a question, you can call 713. I've got to put my glasses on to be able to see this. Here we go with glasses. 713-955-0351. That's 713-955-0351. So if you'd like to call in and ask my guest, David, some questions, please feel free to call in. Or if you'd like to just talk with a little bit about with what you're going through while we're waiting for David to come on. I'd also like to go through Master Reiki is a wonderful hypnosis CD, helps you balance out your energy. We have Stop Smoking Hypnosis CD, which can also help with any other addiction that you're working your way through. It programs the subconscious mind to find healthy ways to deal with your cravings and your addiction. Sometimes when we're working our way into recovery, we'll have a tough time sleeping. Catch Some Z's will help you with that. And my favorite, Enhance My Calm. This kind of has the same effect as taking those deep breaths. Enhance My Calm will take the subconscious mind through a jacuzzi tub, imagining that you're in a jacuzzi tub and all of your problems are just washing away in the tub. A lot of times when we're dealing with addiction, we run to our addiction so that we don't have to deal with the emotions that we're feeling, so we don't have to deal with the stress, so that we don't have to look at that. It almost feeds the soul or feeds the body or triggers that serotonin, and we don't have to think about it. It is always underlying and it is always there. So it's important to put a good, strong structure in place for yourself. The last thing I want to talk about that can actually help you through addiction or help you with addiction is finding spirituality. And when I say finding spirituality, I'm not saying, you have to go out and find Jesus or find God. If you're Christian or of that nature and you believe strongly in God and Jesus, then I'm saying go out and find God and Jesus. But spirituality is a whole different experience. Spirituality is the belief and the knowing that there is a purpose in life. There is something higher than ourselves. There is something other than ourselves out there driving us as humans and driving our spirit to want to connect with other spirits and to want to feel whole and complete. Many of us spend years searching for why we're here and searching for that full feeling, and know that that full feeling can really only truly be found from within. And some of the ways that you can find it is through meditation, is through being around other people, talking with other people, and watching shows like this so that you can connect with others who have been there and feel like you're not all alone in your search for recovery. So spiritual awakening or spiritual enlightenment is something that you can seek out. And you can find that again in numbers. And I'm going to loop right back to the beginning of our broadcast today, where I talk about make sure that you are working with others who are in a nice high place, who are in their spiritual center, who have perhaps walked that walk before you, who can help lift you up, and who can help you out and help you find your spirituality. A lot of people will find that through music as well. I absolutely highly recommend the power of sound when we are working through anything. a song can really set us in a good mood or a bad mood, depending on the tone of the song, or depending on the levels that we're working with. So those are just some things that I hope can help you along your journey, or help you with a loved one, especially with the holiday seasons coming upon us. You are strong. You have this. You really have this. And there are people that are here for you. So don't give up on yourself. I know I'm not. And I'm just going to check with my producer here and see how much longer we have until we are able to welcome David on the air.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Oh my goodness. So 7 minutes before David comes live on the broadcast. What could we talk about for 7 minutes? We can talk about my new Hypnosis at Home programs. Hypnosis at Home is what I've done with these programs is I have taken my Hypnosis Cds. One of the things with working with my clients on any of their goals and things that people would like to achieve in their life, including addiction. One of the things that I was not able to achieve or get for my clients was, and I would always tell my clients, you know, I can lay out the path for you. I can provide you with the products. I can provide you with the CDs. I can see you once a week. I can give you inspiration. I can help you along through your path. But one thing I can't do for you is I can't go home and be there with you every day and walk you through it. That's where you have to step in and do the work. And, you know, that really bothered me because I really, you know, I love helping people. That's really what I'm all about. And I wanted to be able to go home with you and be there with you every day, walking you through it. So I thought on it and I thought on it and I meditated on it, and I asked my guides for some answers on what I could do to get there, and I came up with the Hypnosis at Home programs. So what I did was I took, and we can talk about Enhance My Calm, because this is available in the Hypnosis at Home program. These have some wonderful, powerful CDs, recordings that you can listen to. There's actually there's positive affirmations for on the go that you can listen to in your car. When you need them in a pinch, you just pop them in and listen to them. You can even download these to your phone, listen on your phone. And then there's also Enhance My Calm Hypnosis, which you'll want to listen to in the privacy of your own home every day for 28 days. I basically guarantee that if you listen to this for 28 days, if your intended focus is on stress relief or whatever subject you choose for an entire 28 days, you're going to notice results. It takes 28 days to shift that mindset. Give yourself that 28 days. In order to be there with you every day through your progress, I've created a workbook that you can follow along that takes you through week by week, and each day a journal that you can write your hopes, your dreams, your fears, your accomplishments, and journal to yourself and write letters to yourself to help you through each day. And I've also written a companion book for each of the CDs that will take you through the full 28 days. It talks about things like we talked about this morning, herbal remedies that can help you reach your goal, meditation techniques, sound techniques, how you can use the music that you listen to help you achieve this. Anything that we need to do to keep you focused for an entire 28 days is what we're going to do. So, and then I've also given video access. So you can watch a video with me every week, inspiring you, being your cheerleader in the corner, saying, you can do this. I've walked this walk before you. And the wonderful thing about every single one of these CDs, I have worked them personally. I've gone through the 28 days. I use these personally. I've done tons of research, and I've done all the work for you. So pretty much all that you have to do is go ahead and get the Hypnosis at Home program. Promise yourself that you're going to give it a full 28 days. I give you all the tools that are required to get there. And you can find them again by visiting my website, which is michellemellioonline.com.
On air.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Mind Tripping with Michelle. This is Michelle Melio. I'm your host today, and we've been broadcasting live on our Google Hangouts as well as on YouTube for the past half hour. And we've been talking about addiction. We've been talking about some wonderful holistic and alternative techniques that you can use for yourself or someone you love that can help you through the dis-ease of addiction and help you over into recovery. As I said earlier, I have my special guest today. I'm very excited to welcome David Clarke. He is an author, and he's the author of the new book called Ockham's Razor, which you can find on his website, which is author David Clarke with an E.com. And his book is available now on Kindle. Is that correct?
Yes, and it will be out in print form in a week or two.
And it will be out in print form in about a week or two. Welcome, David. How are you today? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great, having a wonderful morning. And I'm really excited because I have a producer now, my daughter, so I can actually do, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I had the pleasure of speaking with her. What's her name?
Her name is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Oh, she likes being behind the scenes. She's not as much of a ham as her mom is. So, David.
Okay. Well, I'm the hand. You're down on the line.
All right. That's why we have so much fun together. So, David, today we're talking about addiction and some alternative and holistic ways to help you or help my listeners or people that they love through the disease of addiction. I've talked a little bit about my end, which is I've been on the other side of addiction. I've been the person that was married to the addict. So I talked a little bit about that. Now you have actually walked the walk. You've walked through the disease and into recovery. Is that correct?
Yes, and into recovery and out the other side, meaning that I have recovered. And that goes against the grain of traditional thinking that a person can never truly recover, but that they are in recovery. And I maintain that it is possible to recover from any dis-ease, which manifests as disease. And of course, addiction becomes a physical, emotional, and spiritual disease that is Bernie Siegel, who is an authority as a cancer surgeon. He has written the foreword to my book, and like me, he believes that we can totally heal ourselves.
Lovely. I love that. So you call yourself recovered. You have recovered. You have cured and healed from this.
Yes. Now, as an example, I was quite a severe alcoholic. I never went into the physical disease, but I was medicating, self-medicating mania, and drinking to excess up to a case of beer a day and smoking pot. And today I can safely drink. I don't like to be drunk, and I rarely have more than one or two drinks. And if I do, I space it out over a period of time. I do get a little tipsy on New Year's Eve for the fun of it with my current husband, but I don't get drunk.
Lovely. So, could you tell my listeners and my viewers, how did you do this? How did you get here?
I used 12-step recovery. I used traditional therapy. I used a lot of positive affirmation. I had mentors, and I learned to keep it a little more simple and to practice the golden rule and follow my bliss, meaning that I do whatever makes me feel good that does not cause harm to myself or others. And during the period of time that I've been with my husband, who I just married, I had a major relapse in sexual addiction. And we had to work through that. Him as a co-addict, meaning codependent, it was a real struggle for him. But he stayed with me. He was patient. We let each other go a year ago
Wow. Well, congratulations on both accomplishments. That is amazing. And what a wonderful man to, you know, to stand by your side and work through this with you. That really, truly is, for both of you, a sign of unconditional love and acceptance, I think. I think that makes a difference. Do you not?
Absolutely. And the other thing that I wanted to say is how important it is to put forward positive energy and to continue to work through a challenge. And I have experienced listening to many other people in programs say, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a sex addict, I'm struggling. And I think it is more useful to view what it seems like a struggle as a challenge, because a challenge can be overcome. And when you remain in a struggle, you identify with the disease and don't find complete recovery.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that the way we perceive things and the way we speak about things, and I love that you say a challenge, because it does change the whole perception of the experience when we say this is challenging to me, or I'm up for the challenge, or I'm taking a challenge right now, I'm going through a challenge. It really does, I think, shift the whole feelings that surround the experience. I like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lovely. So tell us about your book. Does your book talk about these stories that you're sharing with us today? What is this wonderful book? I'm thrilled that it's available. First of all, it's a beautiful book. It has a wonderful cover, and it looks so interesting.
Well, the book is actually called Ockham's Razor Revisited, because there's several books out with the title of simply Ockham's Razor. So I wanted to differentiate that so that it would be easy to find. And the subtitle is A Simple Solution to Freedom from All Addiction. And all addictions, because there are many addictions and compulsive behaviors, attachments that people form to things outside of themselves, including people, including toxic relationships, things like workaholism, gambling, sex addiction, compulsive spending, alcoholism, drug addiction, you name it. And I maintain that if one keeps it simple and practices the golden rule, does no harm, and uses their conscience as their guide, that can help somebody stay the course. Now, I don't diminish 12-step programs, and I think that for somebody that is truly in a struggle, that is an amazing place to start. But if you get through taking the self-inventory, if you get past denial and recognize that some power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity, go through looking at the dark side of yourself, focus on the light side of yourself, and live in the light, that then you can keep it more simple, because a lot of people in 12-step programs remain locked in a cycle of struggle that is not particularly helpful or affirming. And my book weaves the story of recovering from 4 major challenges in my life, which were severe homophobia, mental illness, sexual addiction, which was my primary addiction, which began in childhood when I was sexualized at a very early age by an adult, and I have suffered sexual abuse in my life. Let's put it this way. That's the way I used to frame it. Now I recognize that I'm not a victim, that I thrived, and that it was all part of what made me as a person now, and of course also recovery from alcoholism.
Wow. That so
The book is being made into a screenplay by an award-winning screenwriter who says it's such an amazing story. He believes it will be a finalist at the Sundance Film Festival, and that he can get a major studio to pick it up.
Wow. So it's going to be at the Sundance Film Festival. And is it going to have the same name, Occam's Razor Revisited?
It is, and this is all potential. It's not, it's a work in progress right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's developed the outline, which has to weave together the different pieces of my story in chronological order, and he's working on the dialogue now, which I helped him with regards to my ex-wife, my former partner of 24 years, and my current husband of 10 years, I should say partner, who became husband on September 21st of this year. So it is a work in progress, and he is using the dialogue I provided to help show what the interactions were like with those significant people in my life.
Wow. So the Occam's Razor Revisited is your story.
It is my story.
Wow.
And it's a story of somebody who has been working at this for 26 years.
Wow.
And I am a former social worker, psychiatric social worker, so I've had a lot of background with people who have endured the same conditions that I did. And I learned from my clients those things which needed healing within myself,
Mm-hmm.
including mental illness and drug addiction. And the mental illness took the form of severe and often suicidal depressions from the ages of 21 to 35. And then when I stopped drinking, I experienced a mania, because what I was doing was self-medicating. When I was depressed, since alcohol is a depressant, I didn't drink. When I was on the high side of things, I drank like a fish. And so that precluded me from going into mania until I put down the drink. And then I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I had to go on to medication for that. And whether or not I need that now, I don't know. But I'm a conservative person, and I have people in my life who are concerned about me going off the medication. So I choose to take the conservative approach and take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. And you know, I find a lot of people that are struggling with or that are going through the challenge, right, of bringing themselves into a state of recovery, that a lot of times it's simply a chemical off balance in the brain that just really needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
So I want to back up a little bit, if you don't mind, David, because you know there was something that really stuck out for me when you were talking about your story and what your book tells the reader and what they can expect. And so you said that one of your challenges was that you were a severe homophobe, yet you are married to a man.
I was one of the first people to cast a stone in that direction, because I was trying to hide something that caused me a lot of shame. And I grew up and came of age in the 70s. And at that time, there was a very different attitude towards gay people. I wanted to be so-called normal. I wanted to marry and have children, and I did marry. I came out to my former wife just prior to the marriage because I felt she should know what she was getting into. I had just come to accept that I was gay that summer, which was 1978. And she said she could deal with me being sexual with men as long as I didn't fall in love with a man. Well, that happened. And then, in order to be fair to her, I said we should get a divorce, because I think that you have the right to find happiness with somebody that does not have that situation, and that I need to be free to lead my life as a gay man. And that's just a label. It's just a part of who I am. I believe labels are very limiting, and the only reason I identify as gay is to help other people who may be struggling with that label. But I believe that I am a free spirit who is embracing a total human condition that overcoming shame. And one of the past lives I explored was that of a prostitute in 19th century England or 18th century England. Her name was Elizabeth. And she had been a rape victim, as I had done. And she was blamed for the rape, and she was ostracized and went off to earn a living as a prostitute. Well, what happened was the psychic who guided me through the regression, spirit emanated from her and told me where to go to avoid the rape. And so that life was rewritten. And when I came back to this life, I was freed from shame and came out of a major relapse in sexual addiction.
Wow.
In a couple of weeks.
That, I've got chills when you tell me that. I think that's amazing. And that's another, like, there are just so many, facets to that diamond, you know, that we're trying to polish up for ourselves. And past lives, I think, have a lot to do with what we're dealing with in this lifetime. And that's amazing. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
You're welcome. I have a regular guest. This is not the person who did multi-life therapy with me, but Miriam McIntyre, very gifted in reading Akashic records. She believes that all fears and phobias that we experience in this life are directly related to past lives.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. And I find that with a lot of my clients with the hypnosis, that it usually will end up going into a past life when we're working with fears and phobias. So that's pretty incredible. That's amazing. So, so your book comes out. Your book is available now. It comes out on Kindle. Okay, so anybody can go to Amazon. They can plug in Ockham's Razor Revisited.
Yeah.
And they can find.
And whether or not they have Kindle, it can be downloaded to their computer, so you don't have to have Kindle to be able to do that.
Oh, that's good to know. That's excellent. So if somebody's looking for the digital version, they're going to want to go over to Amazon and find it there. And I've got a hint for those of you listening in and those of you watching. If you go to Amazon and you plug in David Clarke, DavidClarke, you will find a bunch of other goodies that were written by David as well. And that you can order them. Yeah, that you can. I had to plug that in. I just love. The books that you've written. They just look. They're so fun, and I love the way that you explain things. I love the way that, like, what you say. You really walk the walk, because when you say that you really have taken things to a level of simplicity, you do that in all areas of.
I get it the hard way, and I'm saying that it does not have to be done that way. That people can revisit what they need to do to overcome denial, and then there's a more simple solution that they can use as a possible option.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a way for people that are in recovery to maintain that recovery without cycling through the 12 steps, which is a somewhat arduous process. And the other thing is, I find the 12 steps somewhat limiting, and this is with all due respect, because I believe it was God's gift to the 20th century, beginning with Alcoholics Anonymous. But, people, they label themselves, and there's a saying in the big book that says, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. Well, I believe it's the answer to all my solutions today.
Nice. Acceptance is the answer to all of your solutions today. I love it. And I agree with you. The 12-step program is wonderful. I think for those who are, really looking for a structured program to pull themselves out of the muck and to start their challenge. But there are many other options, or even things that you can incorporate alongside that. So in other words, it's not that it can be not helpful. It's just that it's not the tell-all, end-all, that there are other options out there.
And whether or not somebody believes they're a spiritual being, if they can embrace that the universe is an amazing, mind-boggling thing, that they are a piece of a greater whole, then they can accept that there is some higher power at work in their life. It does not have to have any religious connotation. But we are all spiritual beings, whether or not we accept that.
So that leads me to another question that I have for you, David. Have you always been spiritual, or was there a defining moment where you realized your spirituality or your spiritual potential?
I grew up in a Protestant tradition and was very religious as a child, but I did not find that it opened me to the spiritual dimension because I'm a mystic and I'm very metaphysical in my approach. I've had a lot of mystical experience and some psychic experience along the way. I'm a true empath and an intuitive. I can read the future. But what I'm saying is that I had some struggles along the way that were connected to judgments that I've cast against religion. And with all due respect, I believe religion has done more harm than good throughout the centuries. But it can provide a framework for people to find their way to spirituality. And I had a mystical experience when I was 25 that I came out of having a complete change in my belief that there is just this one life followed by heaven or hell, and that there is no hell except what we create in this life. And then I believe in reincarnation because I saw a previous life.
Wow. And that was all when you were 25.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I'm nearly 60 now, but I don't look it.
You don't sound it, you don't look it. What would you recommend to anyone listening to help them, to help put them on their path? Or what recommendation would you give to anybody that is, working on their challenge of walking their way to recovery or looking for that spiritual moment? What suggestions or recommendations do you have for our listeners?
The most powerful thing that I used was affirmation. And to me, affirmation involves emulating qualities that I wish to possess. I had self-esteem problems. I believed at some level that I was no good, that I was shameful. I believe that it's good to say that you're worthy of love, that you are a child of the universe or a beloved child of God. And then from there, it's very important to take action because faith without works is meaningless. And so it's important to move forward and to start practicing some of the affirmations that you come to accept along the way, and to do things that make you feel good, to follow your bliss, and to discover your passions, which will lead you to your unfolding life purpose. And that is what I did, and it led me to become an author, and it led me to become a radio show host. And I love my life today. What I had done in the past was I've been a professional salesperson and a social worker, and even though I was very proficient at those things, they did not fulfill my spirit. And so I think it's very important to find the life purpose, and if you don't have any clue how to do it, just follow your passion and what makes you feel good that will not harm yourself or others.
Wow. That's a wonderful suggestion. You also do coaching for people.
I do. I'm a spirit life coach, and I work very strongly with the thought that every thought, every word, every action is a prayer. That is how you lead the spiritual life, whether or not you believe in God. If you do that, then you will do no harm. If you do that, you will be guided in a positive direction. It's very important to remain in attitudes are all important. And you need to keep a positive attitude. You need to stay in touch with gratitude time,
Mhm.
and that all is possible. And faith is one of the keys, but gratitude for what you possess today, keeping it in the day, going one step at a time, being a work in progress, is the way to manifesting your dreams.
Wow, that's amazing. So, so people can come if they would like, if you would like David to help walk you through your spiritual path and help you to find your bliss and help teach you how to create daily prayers. I love that. That's amazing. Go ahead and visit his website, which is author David Clarke with an E.com. And I think that we just have a few more minutes left, David. So if there's anything that you would like to add that I didn't bring up, I would love you to take the opportunity to share it now.
Well, let me ask a question. When you put in David Clarke, did it bring up my nun books? Because those are written under a different pen name.
Oh, I believe that your nun books are on your David Clarke website, author David Clarke, but
Okay.
please would love to hear about your nun books because I love the nun books.
There's where to go if you want to not take life so seriously. Sister Muriel with Fortitude is a nun who loves her bourbon and her Marlboros, and she's faced with some challenges along the way. The Reverend Love is a reformed prostitute. The conduct chef is a gay cowboy, and there's this judgmental prude named Priscilla Bonhead, who people will discover perhaps their dark sides that they need, their shadow sides that they need to overcome. And also under David Clarke is Shades of Gay, which is the story of an active sex addict and alcoholic who transforms his life over the course of 8 years. And that is a novel which has some bearing on my own life, and probably 50% of it is drawn from my own life.
Wow. Amazing. Well, I'll tell you, David, you are an amazing man who really has shown us that it is possible to get yourself to the point of that you are recovered and that you can truly put these things in your past and that you can live in the moment and live a very spiritual life. And I thank you so much for being my guest on the show today.
You're welcome, and I just want to say a parting word. In order to free yourself from whatever chains that bind you, it's important to recognize that happiness and well-being cannot come from the outside. It has to be an inside job. And if you do some of the things that I've said, you will heal yourself.
Lovely. Wonderful parting words. Thank you again for joining us. I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon, and hopefully we can get you on the show again sometime.
That would be great. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Ooh. So that was author David Clarke, and if you'd like more information about him, you can visit his website, authordavidclarke.com, and that's with an E. You can also find his new book, Ockham's Razor Revisited, on Amazon Kindle. It will be available in paperback very shortly, but you can get a Kindle version or online version on Amazon. And check out his other books while you are on Amazon. His show is called he has a couple of shows, actually, different strokes for different folks, I believe, if you're on Blog Talk Radio. And so go ahead and visit. But if you go to his author, David Clarke with an E.com, you can find all about his radio show, all about hiring him or asking him to work with you on your own personal spiritual path, checking out his books, or just pop in to say hi. Once again, thank you so much for watching Mind Tripping with Michelle today. I wish you all the success that you can master, and namaste.